This week I did a full food shop, and not just any food shop. I went all in on the Exceptional by Asda range, you know, the premium stuff that's supposed to be a little bit fancy. But here's the question, is it actually worth the big price tag? Over the last week I've cooked 5 meals using only these products, and today we're going to be putting them to the test. We're going to be judging taste, quality, and most importantly, value for money. Are we talking restaurant quality at home, or is this overpriced supermarket hype? Let's find out. If you do enjoy this video, guys, please don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. Also consider subscribing down below. And without further ado, let's dive into it. For my first exceptional dish this week, I'm only going to be making dinner for me and my daughter tonight. So we're going for our 2 beer battered cod fillets. These were £4.50. Then we're going to put some tender stem broccoli tips on the side. These were £1.14. And then we're also going to be having some garlic and parmesan baby potatoes alongside this, and these were £2.47. So altogether this comes to £8.11 just to feed me and my daughter. But let's see if it's worth it. Let's cook it up and then give it a taste test. The cooking's quite basic on these. I'm going to be cooking our baby potatoes in the oven for an hour. Going to cook them for 45 minutes, then crush them with a fork, put on the butter and the parmesan and let them cook for another 15 minutes. Just going to be boiling our tender stem and then air frying our cod fillets. That is mine and Ava's dinners all served up. Ava's got such a healthy portion today. But yeah, for over £4 a person, they should be big portions, and they definitely are. Let's give this a taste test. Starting with this batter, super crispy. Fish looks absolutely beautiful, really well cooked in the air fryer. Let's give it a taste. How it's looking on the fork looks incredible. Wow, that batter is delicious, and the quality of the fish is actually stunning. Hats off for this. This is actually scrummy. Let's dive into these garlic parmesan baby potatoes. They look better than they taste. They taste nice, but they just taste like a garlic butter baby potato to me with a little bit of parmesan on it. Definitely could make them at home for cheaper. Now let's try the tender stem. Yep, broccoli's delicious, really fresh. Really nice dinner. Actually, I'm really looking forward to eating the rest of this. I just think the baby potatoes are a little bit underwhelming. They look a lot nicer than they taste. Gotta give this dinner a solid like 9 out of 10. It's actually really good. For tonight's dinner, I'm making an exceptional roast dinner, and then we've got a strawberry cheesecake for pudding. So let's run through all of the ingredients we're gonna need and the cost of this meal. We have a lamb rump joint, and this was £8.23. Our 4 beef dripping Yorkshire puddings were £2.12. Our bag of beef dripping roast potatoes was £2.44. These are frozen roast potatoes. 1 pack of runner beans, £1.47, and our purple sprouting broccoli, £1.77. Our beef gravy granules were £1.85 for the whole jar. I'm using a 1/5 of a jar, making that 37p. And then for our dessert after dinner, we have our strawberry and clotted cream cheesecake, which was £5.48. So for this entire meal, guys, we are paying £21.88 altogether. So much money to me for one single meal, but let's cook it all up and see how it tastes. I'm going to be roasting the lamb rump joint in the oven along with our beef dripping roast potatoes. I'm going to be adding the Yorkshire puddings in at the end as well. Then we're just going to be boiling up our veg and then making our gravy. Dinner's all cooked. Now it's time for me to serve up. I can't lie, this was probably one of the easiest roast dinners I've made, with the meat, potatoes and Yorkshires on one tray. Veg was just in one pot, and then I've just made our gravy here, and yeah, now I'm gonna serve up. So this is our plate served up without the gravy. I thought I would just show you portion sizes quickly before it gets smothered in gravy. The veg, the potatoes and the Yorkshires are pretty good portion size. This joint, however, as delicious as it looks and smells, it has not stretched far. Ava's got a little slice on hers, and other than that we've got a little bit of lamb each. But let's smother this in gravy and see how it looks. So that's the dinner served up with the gravy now. The gravy smells absolutely incredible. I'm going to serve the kids up now, and then I'm going to give my dinner a taste test. First up, let's start by testing this lamb. Cuts really beautifully. I've got the gravy on there too. That's a really gorgeous flavour to that actually, and it's really tender meat. Beautifully cooked in the oven. Let's try the potatoes now. Got a really crisp coating on the outside. They're really soft and fluffy on the inside. Absolutely delicious. However, they don't taste that different to any other frozen roast potato that I've eaten from the supermarket. Let's try some of this fresh veg. Runner beans are really nice. Fairly standard flavour though. But this purple sprout and broccoli is extra delicious. I really, really like this. And lastly, let's give this Yorkshire pudding a try. Yeah, these are really good. I have had these quite a few few times before, you might have seen in my weekly food shops. I normally get them for sort of like Easter or Christmas time to make my life a bit easier in the kitchen, but they're the next best thing to a homemade Yorkshire pudding, I would say. Probably the closest you'll get in the supermarket. I think these are absolutely delicious. The gravy is also really delicious. It's got a great depth of flavour to that gravy. So to be fair, I do really rate the gravy. All in all, an amazing dinner, but it came with a hefty price tag. I'd rate this dinner a solid 9 out of 10. I'm gonna go and enjoy the rest of it now, and then we'll be back shortly to taste test that strawberry cheesecake. Now it's time for our dessert, which is the strawberry and clotted cream cheesecake. I'm sorry, but this does not give 6 portions. Just about feeds me and the boys, but it looks delicious. The base is super crumbly, which is actually a good sign for me with a cheesecake, and we're going to give this a taste test. But a quick note on the dinner, because we've just eaten the lamb roast. The boys did not like the lamb. They said it was chewy, they didn't like it. So just to note, that was my kids' impressions of the dinner. But let's give pudding a taste test. Let's dig into this. Oh, it looks crumbly and delicious. Let's try it. That is a lovely cheesecake. It's more of a buttery flavour with the cream, where it's like the clotted cream. It tastes a lot more sort of creamy than it does cheesy, if you know what I mean. Normally it has quite a strong soft cheese flavour. Almost tastes like a scone, where I have it with the clotted cream and the jam and the crumbly sort of scone texture. It almost tastes like a scone, but in a cheesecake. It's really nice, actually. Not your everyday cheesecake. It's not tasting how I associate a cheesecake, if that makes sense, but it's actually really delicious. I'd probably give this again a 9 out of 10. Do I think it's worth paying the £5.50 for? Potentially not. It is really tasty, but I do fear that it's overpriced. Tonight I'm going to be making an exceptional fry up. I've got a couple of bits that aren't from the exceptional range, but I'll run through that now. Let's go through all of the ingredients and the overall cost of this meal. So for our sausages, I'm going to be using a mix of these 2 packs. These were 2 for £5. I'm going to be using 8 out of the 12. That comes to £3.34. Our 8 bacon rashers were £3.47. Our tomatoes were £2.07. We're going to be using half of this pack at £1.04. Our baby portobello mushrooms were £1.48. We're using half, making that 74p. Then going to be using 4 slices of our white farmhouse loaf. This bread was £1.47, making 4 slices 42p. And then we're going to be using probably about a fifth of this pack of butter. We like a lot of butter on our toast. This was £3.16, making a fifth of it 63p. Then I couldn't find exceptional eggs or baked beans, so I'm just going to have to use what I have in my fridge already. So our 4 eggs comes to 92p and our baked beans come to 42p. Altogether this comes to £10.98, which is a lot for a fry up, but let's cook it all up and then taste the quality. Now to cook this, I'm going to put the sausages, bacon, mushrooms and tomatoes in the air fryer. I'm then going to toast the bread and butter it and have that on the side. We're then going to cook the beans in the microwave and fry our eggs in a frying pan. That is our dinner all cooked up, guys. Now looks wise and portion wise, this looks like a solid 10 out of 10. This is my portion, and then we've got my sons, Tyler and Liam. They like their egg cooked on both sides because they're weird. And then my 2-year-old daughter's dinner is the exact same as well, but instead of the cooked tomatoes, I've just kept hers raw and quartered them. Now I'm going to serve up the kids' dinners, and then we're going to give mine a taste test, guys. We're not going to judge the beans or the eggs because they're not in the exceptional range, but we're going to try the rest of it. First things first, I need to try this buttered toast while it's freshly buttered. I have to admit that buttered toast is divine. Now I'm going to go in with the sausages. I've got one of the caramelized onion sausages and one of the pork sausages. First up, the standard classic pork sausage. That is really meaty, really juicy, really well seasoned as well. That is delicious. And then we've got our caramelized onion sausage. That has so much flavour. That sausage is outstanding. Now let's try some of this bacon. The bacon's really nice. It has a slightly different smoked taste to the usual Asda bacon, but there isn't a crazy amount of difference in the quality of bacon here. And lastly, the mushrooms and the tomatoes. Mushrooms taste nice, pretty standard mushroom flavour, and then the tomatoes are really nice as well, but they're not any different to sort of like the vine ripened tomatoes that you can get from Asda. So yeah, they taste good, but are they overpriced for what they are? Potentially. Now this dinner I would say is a solid 10 out of 10. The flavours are incredible, it tastes delicious, but could I potentially get something very similar for a fraction of the cost? yes, I do feel like some of this is very overpriced. Tonight we're doing some wild garlic chicken Kievs with some mashed potato and some veg. Let's run through the ingredients and how much this is going to cost to make. I've got 2 packs of 2 wild garlic chicken Kievs. These were $4.98 each, meaning both together was $9.96. The 2 kilo pack of British potatoes was £1.97. I'm going to use half of them, making that 99p. And then our packet of asparagus and tender stem broccoli was £2.23. Altogether this comes to £13.18 for chicken Kievs, mash and veg. Let's hope these are the best tasting Kievs in the world. I'm going to cook the Kievs in the oven, boil the veg, and then we're going to peel and chop our potatoes, mash those together with some butter, milk, salt and pepper to make our mashed potato, and then we're going to serve it all up together. Just prepping the veg and found this mouldy bit of broccoli in there, so that's lovely. The rest seems fine though, so I'm gonna wash this thoroughly and then pop it onto boil. That is our dinners all served up. We've got mine and the boys there, and then we've got Ava who's got the exact same tonight as well. I'm gonna serve up the kids now and then we're gonna dive into mine for a taste test. Right, let's give this a try, starting with the mashed potato. It's a nice creamy mash, but I found this really hard to mash, these potatoes, and trust me, I've made mash so many times in my life. It isn't a me problem. I just found the potatoes were quite lumpy and they were quite hard to mash. There are quite a few lumps in this of potato. I cooked them enough, it was nothing like that. I don't know what it is for the consistency of the potato, but it's a really nice mash and it's creamy, but it's a potato. It doesn't taste any different to any other mashed potato that I've done in my life. Now for the veg, let's try some of this asparagus and broccoli. I mean, the veg is nice. I wouldn't say there was anything exceptional about these asparagus compared to normal asparagus I would buy in the supermarket. And because it's so expensive, I find that I'm holding it to a higher standard. And if I'm honest, this is way overpriced. And the fact that I found mold and stuff in the packaging when I was prepping it, not a good look. But let's dig into this extra crispy, looks delicious. Let's dig into this and see what this Kiev's saying. That is the cross section of our chicken Kiev. I wouldn't say it was exactly oozing with filling, but the chicken looks moist, the chicken looks thick, chicken looks good. Got a mouthful here, so let's try it. Can't lie, that's a really tasty chicken Kiev. The chicken's really juicy and nice, the coating is delicious, and the inside is really nice. But do I think this is any different to any other chicken Kiev from the supermarket? No. For a wild garlic chicken Kiev, I think this is wildly overpriced. I can't lie. The Asda's own fresh chicken Kievs are less than £3 for a 2-pack, and I don't think they taste all that different. So in my eyes, this meal, massively overpriced. I'll probably give this an 8 out of 10. It's not a bad meal, it is tasty, but I could get a very, very similar meal for a fraction of the cost. For our last exceptional dinner for this video, I'm going to be making a spaghetti meatball dinner served with some flatbreads. Let's run through the ingredients and the overall cost of this meal. We've got a 12 pack of Italian inspired meatballs. These were £4.72. Our 2 arrabbiata pasta sauces comes to £3.25 together. Then got a packet of spaghettoni, and this was £1.70. And then we've got 2 caramelized red onion and mozzarella garlic flatbreads, and these were £2. Altogether this dinner comes to £11.67. Quite expensive for a spaghetti meatball dinner, but let's cook it all up and then see how it tastes. Super simple way of cooking this. I'm just going to be frying up the meatballs and then adding in the sauce and letting that simmer while I boil the spaghetti, and then we're just going to pop our flatbreads in the oven to cook. That is our dinner all served up. We've got mine, Liam's and Tyler's, and my daughter's got her own little plate as well. It's looking good, it's smelling good. I'm going to serve up the kids now and then we're going to give mine a taste test. First up, let's cut into these meatballs and see what they're looking like. They're looking good. They held their shape well during cooking. They didn't break down too much. Let's give it a try. A nice tender soft meatball. It's got some great flavouring in there as well. You can see the herbs and stuff in it. It's part beef, part pork, so I think that helps with the tenderness of the meat and that it's not too dry. It's really moist. And this sauce is really nice as well. It's a nice sauce. It's sort of like a tomatoey pasta sauce with some chili flakes in there. Not blown away by the sauce though, to be honest. I mean, it's nice, it's got a nice flavour, but it's not blowing my mind. Let's dive into the spaghetti because it's about £1 more expensive than a normal pack of spaghetti I'd buy. I can notice physically it is thicker than the usual spaghetti I get, but let's see how it tastes. So other than being thicker than the usual spaghetti I get, I'm not really tasting a difference in the spaghetti. And if I'm honest, I don't really like the thickness of it. I much prefer my regular spaghetti. The thickness is throwing me off and it doesn't taste right in the mouth. But let's try the caramelized onion and mozzarella flatbread. These look really yummy. It tastes nice and there's a little bit of caramelized onion on there, but other than that, it's not any really different to any sort of like mozzarella garlic flatbread that you can get. There's like the tiniest bit of caramelized onion throughout, but it's not packed with it. Like there is just mostly garlic bread and the cheese. Also with this, I just have to add that the description of these flatbreads was hilarious on the packet. So it said hand stretched and everything like that. I appreciate that it's hand stretched and everything, but the way it said that it had mozzarella petals on it when they were just square shavings of mozzarella, like come off of it please. Like to me that made me die laughing when I read about the mozzarella petals. You can't just be using fancy descriptions and then up in the price. £2 for 2 of these seems slightly overpriced to me for what it is. And yeah, overall it is a nice dinner. Again, I'd say probably a 7.5 out of 10 for this dinner. It's not the greatest, it's definitely not exceptional, like it doesn't blow my mind. The meatballs are nice, the spaghetti is nice, but I prefer my regular spaghetti. The sauce is nice and the garlic bread is nice. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this dinner. Fairly overpriced in my opinion. So after trying all 5 meals, overall I would say that the food quality was really good, but not really worth the price. I honestly feel like I can make very similar meals using the standard Asda's own brand ingredients for a fraction of the cost, and you probably wouldn't notice much of a difference. There were a couple of highlights though. The caramelized onion sausages were definitely a standout, and that's probably one thing I'd actually buy again, that and potentially the Yorkshire puddings. And what really surprised me was that my kids didn't even notice the difference for most of it. They actually didn't like the lamb roast joint that was over £8 for that. They didn't actually like that, and things like the sausages and stuff like that, they couldn't even tell that I'd bought different sausages. And that's kind of the problem, like when you're paying so much more, you expect better and you hold it to a higher standard. So then finding the mouldy tender stem in one of the packets as well, yeah, that didn't exactly scream premium to me. So for me personally, this feels like one of those ranges that looks nice, but doesn't quite deliver enough to justify the price. For my future shops, I'm probably going to be sticking to mostly Asda's own brand items like I normally do, with the occasional Just Essentials range and name brand items here and there. But let me know what you think. Have you tried anything from the Asda's exceptional range before, and is it actually worth it in your opinion? Also, if there's any other basic or exceptional ranges that I should be trying in other supermarkets, let me know down in the comments where I should be shopping aside from Asda. But yeah, that is everything guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on it. Thanks for all the love and support on my channel at the moment. It means the absolute world to me, and hopefully I'll see you really soon for another video. Take care. Bye.